Hello and welcome to another Best Junglers episode, this one for patch 14.10, the start of Split 2. Absolutely massive changes. Season 14 has completely swapped around. We have this bonus jungle experience now, which is going to change the game. We have new itemization. We have reworks for ADC itemization as well, which means, do we have to gank bottom lane? Which junglers are doing the best, the gankers or the farmers? We are going to investigate the best junglers for every single rank, including low and high MMR. But if you truly want to stay on top of all of these changes and learn how to carry in this new reality, you obviously have to head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else, as well as all of this hosted in a private jungle Discord. And if there is one thing I'm good at, it's making junglers go from low elo to high elo, as seen by the great number of success stories from the end of last season and already the beginning of season 14. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle diff every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. And on the S tier page, I don't think anyone who's paying attention should be surprised. Karthus is Omega strong, as are all junglers who are dot mages or can use the combination of Liandry's and Blackfire Torch. Blackfire Torch building out of the new Faded Ashes that does bonus damage to monsters and minions, and the whole thing is that when you combine these two itemizations, you've got a lot of dot damage with max HP, you got a lot of dot damage with flat magic damage, and it scales up with the AP the more you're in combat versus champions and monsters. That's a very quick summary, but the point is you can understand that there's a lot of clearing going on and a lot of damage going on. But most importantly, because the jungle experience has been juiced, these champions are also gaining a lot more experience and clearing a lot quicker, which means they're getting the items sooner, which means you have the snowball effect, and Karthus is the poster boy for exactly what I just described. Sequence and take grabs and gank in the downtime, press R on the other ganks, stack your first strike with the amplification damage, which was also just buffed, and effectively not a lot of things can outscale your tempo, and they will most likely make mistakes trying to force the issue, as Karthus will just chill, relax, play intelligently, and win games. It's also important to note that the loss of first strike on many junglers, we all love this rune, does compromise certain break-even points and spikes throughout the early game. And this means that even though other junglers who might gank a bit more and farm a bit less, even though they get those kills, they're not going to cash in as much as they were. Whereas if you've got that great baseline of sequencing and pathing and counter ganking and just snacking objectives, it's not a passive playstyle, don't get me wrong, it's just enabled so greatly by these two items. Mostly by the Faded Ashes, because that builds into Liandry's as well, and they stack pretty damn well together upon 2-item completion. Karthus, the best in the game, broken actually, needs to be hotfixed. And as we talk about Nidalee, the question is, do we balance around those two items, or is it a jungle experience issue? Now, Nidalee doesn't build these items, she builds her Lichbane still. The thing is, when you talk about the boosted jungle experience, it's on the second rotation and the third rotation that you're really getting that extra elevation. It's not from the first clears. That means Nidalee, who absolutely loves invading you in the first rotation, second rotation, and third rotation, is counter jungling crucial camps away from you, or like our challenger Nidalee player in the private Discord, just full sequences, 3 rotations really quickly, does a few ganks here and there, takes a grub, and now you're behind in gold, now you're behind in experience. And a Nidalee who's ahead in those metrics is a very oppressive thing to face when they have hands and understand how to push the map. Nidalee doesn't benefit from these items I just discussed, she benefits directly from the jungle impact and the nerf to the other junglers around that could actually contain her. On the other hand, they also went ahead and buffed the Luden's Echo, so you're thinking, they buffed Luden's Echo, or whatever the hell it's called now. And that was my initial thought on Talia's win rate. Oh, they, buffed the jungle experience. They just nerfed her clear speed the patch before, which means that's kind of been offset and she's back to being Talia. No, she also has built Liandry's in the past and can build Liandry's now, after she builds Blackfire Torch, essentially benefiting from the 2 itemization spike that Karthus enjoys and also benefiting from the experience buffs that the Nidalee likes to use. So Talia is basically a little bit of a combination of both here and absolutely dominating in the win rate department. I did manage to destroy one yesterday and it felt pretty good, but I was playing Zyra, so I was able to very easily out-tempo her, trap her, and play around that. However, in most cases, what are you going to do against a really fed Talia? She's insanely obnoxious when she scales. She has obscene disengaged CC control and obviously map control with the ultimate. The champion provides all to all junglers who want to win. And now she can farm significantly faster, do significantly more damage with basically 3 different item choices as your core, to steal the line away from Malphite, rock solid, and also to steal that passive away from Randuin's because they removed it. In the private Discord, they asked me when I was doing the patch note rundown, what are your predictions? Obviously, I said Karthus, and I said Lilia. Those were definitely the 2 I threw out. Lilia, just because you see the Faded Ashes, you see the Blackfire Torch, you know she's going to want to farm quicker, you know there's more experience, you know she likes to skirmish, you know she likes to sequence, she does absolutely everything. The champion is insanely strong on average, however not as good as the 3 I just mentioned in the hands of the skilled. That's because she requires less skill. And here's the kicker about these champions in the jungle meta in general. It comes down to not only your baseline control of your own camps and taking the level 4, 5, 6 camps really on loop as quickly as you can, it's also about denying the enemy jungle spike of those camps. And as Lilia, you know you're really looking to play around 6 and sure you can skirmish and do decent things, but you know you can always fall back to farming really quickly, and if someone who's a ganking jungler makes a few mistakes, you know you're going to counter jungle just like Nidalee and take away the things from the enemy jungler. When you take away this level 5, level 6 camps away from them, you compromise their spikes to an insane degree. The level 5 camps are the big ones. If you can counter jungle those, do it. And Lilia has the speed and the tempo to actually accomplish this. Unlike Rek'Sai, who does not benefit whatsoever from Blackfire Torch and doesn't really AFK farm or whatever, so it's not benefiting from those experience boosts, except she is. You must understand something here. If you can set your camps up such that you have level 5 respawns, level 4 respawns, level 6 respawns on those camps, and you're ganking a little bit, you're going to get the benefit of snowballing your laners and then falling back to those camps. You're not getting any catch-up experience, you're just getting a huge amount of it in raw dough form. So if you spend your time ganking and you're not being counter jungled because your map control is good and you've got good vision, if you are successful on your ganks, you will also have that baseline farm waiting for you to slingshot your experience up. So it does work in both environments, but with Rek'Sai, it's about the balance, hitting those right notes. And now you're saying, well, if you're behind on farm, if you're behind a little bit on experience versus say the Karthuses and so on, how can she keep up? Well, good thing that they, buffed the Black Cleaver and that item's really, really strong again to go second. And we can build things like Steric's Gate, which is still fine. You still have Strybreaker to farm really quickly. And that's the thing. If you need to quickly do camps on Rek'Sai now, you can. She provides the all-in ability to take out the champions I've just mentioned. Obviously, it's going to be less, pleasant to go against some of them, but Rek'Sai is an all-in champion, a ganking champion, a tempo champion. She's the one gankathon in this particular list that is able to invade and push the map and win by 22 with all the grubs. And honestly, Caesar Talia, you got your E, you got your knockup, you got your animation cancels, you can kill them with an all-in, and thus their power is removed. Much like Viego, who is still good at everything, but it's nice not to see him right at the top, his win rate's a little bit down, and a lot of people think he's a lot weaker than he is. Honestly, speaking with some people who do play Viego at a high elo level, it feels kind of the same. Yeah, crack and change, but still good. Sundered Skies still changed, still good. If you want to go against the squishies and have a lot more DPS, then hey, Trinity Force is the go-to. Way better win rate, by the way. And then Sterix is still absolutely cracked. We obviously have the Morph Mortius, the Death Dance, the GAs, and those things, but the champion isn't really changing that much from season to season, and he's benefiting directly from the experience buffs, and honestly, just don't go ahead and try and change your jungling too much. Flow, counter jungling, experience control, get those resets, win the game. Don't overthink it, don't change your items for the sake of it, just play jungle. Same thing can be said for Xin Zhao, except you're going, whoa, why are you putting him here? And that's because, my friends, sometimes I like to give you a spicy S tier pick with a bit more explanation, so let me explain myself. His win rate has gone up. Strategically, just because Black Cleaver is obviously a lot better, gives him way more armor shred, and he has stickiness. He, like Rek'Sai, can go in on a Nidalee. He can go in on a Talia. Yes, they can be disengaged. Yes, life can be made very difficult for these melees. However, if you understand again the ganking and the experience slingshotting, there's nothing stopping you from absolutely decimating games. He is not hard countered necessarily by any of these champions. The only one you want to ban is Karthus. Ban Karthus, and honestly, the field is yours. Great itemization, great experience, a lot more farmers. And when there's a lot more farmers, it does tend to open up the map a bit more for those ganking angles, that objective control, and when you have enough power curve to invade and take away their camps from them. And because he's got that massively long W and gap close, you can't kite him out like you can other melees. Xin Zhao's actually doing really well, decent play rate, really great win rate, try it out. And obviously here I could put Brand, right? But Brand's win rate actually isn't that good because there's better mages to play and he's still Brand and requires half an IQ point. Skarner, on the other hand, is quite a tricky one to execute properly, and his win rate, despite the nerfs, is solid, it's powerful, and guess what? When you give things like War Mogs and extra tank itemizations and you shift the ability for a tank to, actually become tanky, and you got here a guy that does a lot of damage, has copious amounts of CC, you increase the ability to use his R and drag the Talias and Nidalees back into his team, he's the thing that can sustain, peel, disrupt, and really get in the faces of these other champions that are quite strong. And so you look at the meta, okay, he's not going to AFK farm like the old Skarner, but much like the Rexa has the ability to gank, slingshot experience, all in and peel against these other champions that do a lot of damage, he can sustain a lot of it. Now, remember, he builds a lot of HP, they do a lot of percentage damage. This is the thing you have to reconcile with your itemization. I really miss Stoneplate. Loved it in these comps because that's how you counter percentage max HP damage. But there are more than enough resistances, and obviously we've got Kanik Rukern with that big ass shield, so he has all the tools necessary to thrive in this meta. That was a long S tier section. Let's jump over to the A tier section. Bel'Veth, oh no, they changed her items. That made Kraken better, you can just go Kraken. But the Terminus build path, yeah, it sucks, but when you complete it, you still got Terminus. The only thing I will say here is the new Kraken is actually quite nice. I know the movement speed is huge. While I've always hated the Blade of the Ruin King, the change here does allow it to be a little bit better. You know, they gave it a lot more AD, they gave it some attack speed, they gave it some life steal. Those things in terms of raw stats are absolutely huge, even if they reduced the current HP passive. She has the experience, she has the scaling, she has the items. Nothing's changed for Bel'Veth's reality. Fiddlesticks' reality has changed though, because much like the other mages on this list, hey, we can go Blackfire Torch, hey, we can go Leandries, and now I'm already farming and out-tempoing everybody. And when a Fiddlesticks does that with these kind of items, that ultimate really does hit like a truck. And because the sequencing is so quick now, and because that experience is right there, he can actually hang with other junglers who are maybe doing a little bit more on the map. And that downtime enables Fiddle to find the better angles, the nooks and crannies on the map to use his ultimate, and bottom laners are dying. Now, when I talked about the changes here to the ADC items and specifically referenced Kindred, I just thought back to Season 6 and Season 7 and things like this where we'd have two really hardcore hitting AD items and then you'd have like a nice Zeal item for attack speed. This is effectively the direction we've gone. Except in Kindred's case, while Noonquiver doesn't exist on the Kraken, something I didn't mention yet, important to note on the Viegos and Bel'Veths, but overall, not as big of an issue as I thought. The Collector change with BF Sword, the IE change with the Raw AD, the Rapid Fire Cannon change as well. It's just juiced up Kindred overall in terms of hard hitting, high attack speed scaling, nice crit smacking, dominating jungling, and I guess the experience there is pretty good as well. So if you can invade and counter jungle much like the Nidalee, you can get the econ here to actually build these items. Kindred is still a monster. Much like Echo, and everyone thinks, oh no, Echo's weak, he's not a good jungler, buff him. He's fine. He's always been fine, he's gonna be fine. He's the best Baron stealing, Dragon stealing jungler in the game. He's got amazing counter ganking. Yeah, he needs to amp up a little bit more than other people. No, he doesn't benefit as much from this Leandries Blackfire Torch stuff, but he likes experience. He likes counter ganking, he likes counter jungling, and what more do you need in this meta when there's a lot of experience and junglers you can shut down? And you have an ultimate safe button with your ultimate to, you know, not die from things that other junglers die from? He is the whole package, unlike Shaco, who's only half of a package, and we despise this champion, but our objectivity is not compromised in these tier lists. If Shaco's good, I'll tell you who's good, and he is good. And the reason is he can go AP, because AP Shaco is back because of Blackfire Torch and Leandries. Obviously, you're not going to have the same AFK farming scaling that others are going to have, but the boxes will hurt, the clearing will be good, and obviously you still have the Shaco-ness in the early game. Just make sure your path thing is pristine, and I do say get into their jungle and take some camps away. Nocturne is one where people are kind of thinking, lethal tempo's removed, my life is over. Why? We went Conqueror before, we can go Conqueror now, and they buffed Black Cleaver, and we still have Stridebreaker. And it's more of a farming based meta, which means, oh, Nocturne likes it, doesn't he? He likes to farm and get 6 and play around that and counter jungle. Yes, he does, and he was doing that before, he'll do that now, and he will dominate now because there's way more jungle experience. Oh, and you also have a spell shield, which is pretty damn important against a lot of these other dot players that you're seeing on this list. And you know, here we have the brand. I could put Hecarim here, I could put something else here. I just think, okay, look, let me actually say this. Morgana has a better win rate. If you play Morgana, bring it into the jungle, you're gonna have success with these two items. Brand obviously also has the success with these items and the fact that he farms and benefits from the experience. That's really where it ends though. The champion still does exactly what it did before. Nothing's changed from his reality. He is punishable by the same things you were punishing him by. Just don't let him AFK farm for 25 minutes and wonder why he's 2 levels up. You're gonna have to get in his face a little bit and be a better jungler. Better jungler will win, but Brand is thriving in this new meta. And in Hecarim's case, you know, I thought about maybe I should just put Zac here because also Blackfire Torch into Leandries for Zac is looking pretty good. We have a lot of Blackfire Torch Balmy Cinder combination here on the Nunus as well. Using this extra experience, using these items to get 7 CS per minute while maintaining the unkillable tankiness and using the in and out jungling gameplay. But Hecarim here is absolutely primed in a farming meta. It's a farming meta. You're sequencing the first, second, third rotations. You're rotating only when you have 80% probability of success. You're playing around your ultimate. This is the Hecarim zone. Again, the problem will be itemization. You got to sort that out. I mean, rushing Eclipse here is the lowest win rate out of the top 3 things you can rush. Shojin into Eclipse has shown to have better success, but we'll let that technology kind of develop. But at the same time, pay attention to the datas, the win rates, what kind of style are you playing? And when you have a lead on Hecarim, that's when you can dominate. And if you have a squishy build, then please understand that you can die, so play accordingly. And when you have a fighter sustain build, you will be able to become unkillable because of your experience advantage. And as we head over to the low elo page, are you surprised to see Lilia here? No, because she's Karthus for low elo. Karthus is actually a very difficult champion to pull off properly, and yet his win rate down here is actually pretty good as well. But stick to the Lilia, Nocturne great, Viego still juicy, Diana less effective than you would like in this current meta. She can't really benefit as much from the itemization, but she does suit it well. Vi all in, Amumu all in, plus farm, also Blackfire Torch Leandries on Amumu. Brand basically gets away with everything down here, and Warwick, who likes to rotate and join the fights and deal with the fisties. And while he doesn't benefit in a farming meta, don't let that distract you from the fact that while there may be Kayn footage going on here that's miscollect because the replays don't really fully work, Kayn is not that great, but you can use him down here. The Warwick is the one that will teach you so many fundamentals, and when you go to other junglers, you'll realize what he lacks, but because you understand what he had, you can use what he had better on other junglers, if that makes sense. In high elo though, I don't even put Karthus first, I put Talia. Absolute abomination level win rates. Talia with Karthus and with the Lilia. Ridiculous win rates. We're talking like 60% plus at this rate. Obviously sample sizes are lower, but you're seeing the pick rates, you're like, oh my god, that's actually a little bit vile. I'm sure they'll either directly nerf Blackfire Torch or the Faded Ashes. Hopefully not, because that replaces the Blasting Wand. You can't change cost. You have to change numbers a little bit, or change the synergies between Leandries and Blackfire Torch, or just directly nerf the champions that abuse it too much, but then now they're balanced around it. So, bit of a tricky situation in high elo, but Nidalee still thrives. Hecarim does better here than the general population. Kindred, Skarner, and Rek'Sai obviously also do very well here. There are many assassins now missing, just to close us off. You might think, look, they're weak. Look, a lot of them are weaker because Futures Market is gone. The inspiration page isn't as de facto as it has been, which is great because I got really bored of seeing the same shit every game. However, we do have ability haste on our runes now. We do have cut down, which gives you more damage the higher HP someone has. Look into the technology for your chosen assassin and you will find, even though something like Rengar looks weak, he's actually really good. Why? Because assassins love having gold and experience advantages. There's experience in the jungle, just don't go coin flipping. Have a strong baseline, pick your pressure points, and you will find that assassins are just as strong as they've always been. And you know what assassins do very well? Kill mages, kill ADCs. So keep that in mind as you go forward, and as always, if you want to understand the jungle fundamentals that are eternal no matter the meta, the video on your screen now will give you all the answers.